Hello, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm working on a traveler's notebook layout that I titled Collect Adventure, and I'm using the digital version of the collection Transatlantic Travel by Carta. And again, this is a traveler's notebook layout. I'm starting with a stencil that I have to create a border around the left side edge there. And it's just a very simple, I could just probably do it by hand, just drawing lines down all the way down the page there. And I'm using a watercolor brush that has water in it already. I'm trying to use different layers of water, sometimes with more water, sometimes with less water, to give it a very irregular kind of feel. Sometimes darker, sometimes lighter. I just want it to look messy, because that's what this stencil is about. It's to give it just a messy little border down the page there. And I'm just running my stencil there, or my brush down the stencil, and then I have to do the same thing again because the stencil is shorter than the page is tall, but again, because it's supposed to look messy, I don't mind if there is a little bleed from if there's color previously on the stencil and it gets onto the page. I don't mind at all. And again, I'm trying to use different levels of water, so that some spots are darker than others. So then I give it a little bit of time to dry. It's just watercolor, so it dries real fast, just 2 minutes or so. And then I'm ready to assemble the page. I have this page laid out on Silhouette Studio. That's where I create the page, and there is a template available for this page. You can find it on my blog MistyHilltops.com. If it's not available at the time that you watch this video, because I'm a little behind, it will be available at some point in the future. And there's tons of other similar and not so similar layout templates that are available on my blog MistyHilltops.com. Also, you can use this and resize it to fit a 12 by 12. This is matching a kind of like an 8 by 8 size. Obviously it's slightly larger than 8 by 8, but close enough. And so it's sized for an 8 by 8 kind of size paper, and you can easily resize it if you want to use these templates to work with the sizes that are 12 by 12 or even smaller, like a 6 by 6 or something like that. Anyway, I am now ready to add the various papers there. I'm trying to remember that there are parts of this that that are further back behind, and so I think now I'm ready to put the big paper there. And one of the things I also have to pay attention to is that it lines up. The 2 pages line up, because these papers go across the 2 pages of this traveler's notebook spread. Now, if you're working with just a normal 8 by 8 spread, or just page, or a 12 by 12, obviously there wouldn't be that cut line in the middle, through the middle of the page, but mine is a traveler's notebook. Then I have this longer piece, which I thought, well, it was going to be a huge waste, for one of paper, for another of ink, if I print it as a whole. So I just decided to just do 2 strips instead, and it still gives the idea that there is this long strip of paper behind, but it's really only 2 small strips of paper there. And then I'm ready to add this strip of paper to this side there, and then here I'm making sure that it kind of overlaps a little bit with that little stripe strip of paper that's at the bottom there, and then one more strip of paper that goes basically across there once more. And so if you want to work with the templates, you can either use it with digital or with just normal paper. even if you don't want to use your Silhouette or whatever cutting machine, it also comes as an SVG file. If you don't want to use your cutting machine, you can still use the measurements to give you an about idea of where to place things on the page and how large they should be. So anyway, now I'm ready to start embellishing, and I have all these flowers that I die cut and use punches for, and other stamped pieces and all that. This was one of the, there's actually a cut apart sheet that is for journal cards, but I just reduced the size so much that it becomes so that I can use it for embellishment. Here you see me use the ruler to show me where the center of the page is, where the two pages will be cut apart, so that I make sure that my photo doesn't go across the two pages and I accidentally snip off a tiny bit of the photo there. These photos are supposed to be on one side. I have pages where I cut through photos, but for the most part I do try to pay attention that the photo doesn't have to be cut apart. And so where it goes on the page is somewhat important. Then here I have this, it's a die cut piece from a Tim Holtz die that says collect, and then I have the stamp that I want to use that says adventure, and that will be my title. So this is the title work that I do. I try to mix things up with my titles, so it's not always just die cut titles or stamp titles or whatever, but it's a nice mixture of everything. So again, here I'm using this as a title, and then I'm now ready to start embellishing. And I try to usually keep it with 3 clusters, so I started already with putting a few things down and trying to create something like a visual triangle there, while also trying not to cover up too much of the pretty papers. I like, in my digital scrapbooking days, I didn't care, I just cluster wildly, but with actual paper products I do like to have the pattern paper show. Why else use them or print them or whatever. So anyway, here I'm just adding things so that there will be a bit of clustering, and obviously the leaves go behind the flowers, so I always have to make sure that I don't forget to put to glue down the leaves first before I actually start gluing down the flowers. While I really like my glue, it dries fast. It gives me just enough time to wiggle things around on the page, but then it dries real fast. It is not very forgiving once things are stuck to the page. I can't just usually tear them off. Then here I have all my word strips. I create my word strips myself, and then I also share them as freebies on my blog. Everything that I share, the templates, everything I share are freebies. I don't charge. You can just pick them up from my blog, mistyhilltops.com. So anyways, these word strips are travel topic. At the time of making this video, I haven't shared it, but I have shared a whole lot of other word strips, and eventually it'll be put up. These travel word strips will be put up on my blog as freebie as well. They're ready to go. I just the scheduling, they're not yet scheduled. So, but they will come sooner, or probably sooner rather than later. And so here are these. Some of the embellishment pieces are stamps that I used some of my dies for, and so there's a mixture of printed things, stamped things, and then die cut pieces, and trying to again make it a little bit like a cluster while not covering up too much. Especially with the photos, I'm careful because the photos are really small. They're 2x3 size, and I really try to pay attention that the photos are where it's not too much is covered, because if you cover a little bit, a lot of the photos information is lost. So I'm continuing to add more of the flowers around the page there, and then I'm going to leave you with some more close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.